Alright students, here we go with the back side of Chapter 7 review sheet. Number 11, find the radius of a circle if its area is 400 square feet. I call this a reverse problem. Usually they'll give you the radius or diameter and then you'll have to find the area. In this case they're giving you the area. So step 1, I'm going to draw a circle just so we have it visualized. And they are looking for this, the radius. We don't know it. But they do give you the total area that this covers up. That's 400 square feet. So what we need to do is use the area formula. Here it is. Area is equal to pi times radius squared. And undo this. We need to put the 400 in for the area. You might call that the answer. But it's just the area that this circle is covering. And now we have pi. Let's put in what we know, 3.14. And we don't know this. We don't know what the radius is. We're trying to figure that out. Again, usually they give you this and ask for this. Instead, they're giving you this, and now they're asking you for what is that r going to be? Well, how do we solve this equation? In the past, when we had multiplication with a variable and a constant in front, we would divide to undo the multiplication. And that's what we're going to do here. We're actually going to take this side and we're going to divide it by 3.14. And what's going to happen is 3.14 divided by 3.14 is actually 1. And then 1 times r squared is r squared. Now some kids might just say it just cancels. It goes away. Well, it actually goes to 1. And it's 1 times r squared. On the left side here, we have 400, and we have to do the same thing that we did on the right side, and that's divide by 3.14. And when we do that, we get 127 point, some long nasty thing here, 535. Now, I should be using this because we are estimating right now. How do we undo this? We have squaring, r squared. This is not the answer. We have r squared is equal to this 127 point blah blah blah. So we need to undo this part. And how do you undo squaring? You actually square root. So if we square rooted this side, these two things would cancel and we have r. And then if we square rooted this side, we'd get this number. And I can't remember exactly what it comes out to, but it rounds to 11.3. And that is your final answer, 11.3 feet. Remember, it's a linear distance, so it's 11.3 feet right there. All right, let's take a look at number 12, which is similar, but a little bit easier because we won't have to do the square root. It says, if the circumference of a circle is 314 feet, what is the diameter of the circle? With the same 3.14 for pi and rounding to the nearest tenth. Again, step 1, I like to just draw some kind of circle and write in what we do have. Okay, we know that the distance around the circle, the circumference, is 314 feet. We do not know what the diameter is, and that's what they're asking us for. So let me just draw a little diameter from one side to the other through the center. And we're going to use this formula called circumference, which is equal to pi times diameter. Now again, they're giving us what you might call the answer, but they're just giving us the circumference and asking us to find the diameter over here. So notice what I've done. I plugged that in, the 314. So let me plug in the pi as well. 3.14 times this number is equal to 314. Well, to undo multiplication, just like the other problem, we divide. So let's divide by 3.14 here. These two things will reduce to 1, or cancel in your case, if that's the way you say it. 1 times d, you're just left with the d. And then of course 314 over here, we're going to have to do the same thing. We're going to divide by 3.14. When you do this, you get 100. And guess what? That's our answer. That's what we're looking for. It's 100 feet across. It's a linear distance, so we don't have a square on it or a 3 on it for cube. All right, let's take a look at number 13. Volume. All right. What is the volume of the cylinder? Well, the volume formula for prisms and cylinders is base area times the height of the prism. So, what is the base of this cylinder? Well, it's one of those. It's called a circle. So we have to find the area of a circle. And how do we do that? With this trusty old tool called the formula for area of a circle, which is pi times radius squared. So that represents your base area. And then just times whatever we get there times the height. All right, now let's plug in some numbers. So our volume is going to be 3.14 times the radius. Uh-oh. They gave us a diameter of 8. Let's cut that in half, and it's going to be 4. So if it's 8, divide by 2, and that's going to be 4. That's what our radius is, 4 inches. So let's put in 4 here. Let's square it, because that's what it says to do in our formula. And then multiply by how tall it is. Well, how tall is it? 23. All right. You do all that, put all that in your calculator, and you should end up with this number, which is 1,155 and 52 hundredths. But we're going to round to the nearest tenth, so let's look at this. 2 is at 5 or greater? Nope, so we drop it off. So final answer is 1,155 5/10. Don't forget your label. That's inches to the 3rd power. Why? Because we're talking volume. And volume is measured in cubes. So we use a 3 to represent 3 dimensions of the cube. All right, let's look at number 14. 14, what is the volume of the prism? Again, we're doing a volume question, so our base area times our height should get us the answer. Now what's changed? Well, now we don't have a cylinder, we have a rectangular prism. The nice thing about a rectangular prism is you can use any side as its base. Any side can be the base. So we'll just use the bottom as the base. So what does that mean? We have to find the area of a rectangle. And if you look at that bottom, it's going to be a 3 by 7. And you take the length times the width to find the area. So the base area is length times width of that rectangle, and then times by how tall it is, or the height. All right, let's put those numbers in. So the length and the width, we got 7 times 3, and then times the height, and the height is this one right here. There goes 3. When you multiply all that together, you got 63, and that's 63 centimeters to the 3rd power, which represents cubic centimeters. All right, let's try number 15. Ooh, now we're talking about surface area here. Surface area, what is the formula for that? Find the surface area of the cylinder. Well, surface area is equal to the perimeter of the base times the height of the prism plus 2 times the base area. And what that represents is, if you remember the net for this, when you break this out, if you peeled it all out, you'd have 2 circles and a rectangle. So let me show you where that comes up in the formula. This represents length times width of a rectangle. And right here, base area represents the circle, because the base area is of this circle. And you need 2 of those. Those 2 right there. And that's why this 2 is here. All right, so let's first off find out the perimeter of the base. The perimeter of the base really means you're going to be going around the circle, which means circumference. And the circumference formula is pi times diameter. And then, of course, we have the times the height. I'm just going to rewrite this with all the circle information in. Now, we need to find the base area. And base is, again, a circle. So we need to find the area of a circle. Oh, well, that's pi times radius squared. So here is the general formula for a cylinder. And this works for all cylinders. So let's actually type some numbers in here and then place them into our calculator. So we got 3.14. It says to use that. Times the diameter. Oh gosh, what is the diameter? I made this a mess. The diameter, oh, it's 14. That's given to us, all right? So let's put 14 in for diameter. Times the height. The height is 11. Plus 2 times 3.14 times the radius. That's half of 14. So we only need half here. So that's 7. I can do that in my head. 7 squared. All right, you plug all this into your calculator. And actually, you can plug it in just like that and hit equals on the end, and it should give you the correct answer. Now, if I did this correctly, it comes out to 791.28. It might have some more things here, but all we have to do is go this far, because we have to look at this number. Is that 5 or greater? It sure is. That means this one goes up 1. So it's going to be 791.3. So 791.3, and what do we have? Meters, and remember this is an area, not a volume. So area is measured in square units. That's why we have a 2 instead of a 3. All right, let's try the last one, number 16. What is the surface area of this prism? Well, again, general formula is, whoops, not volume, but we want surface area. So surface area is equal to the perimeter of the base times the height plus 2 base areas. I'll even put the little a in there. All right, so let's pull this together. We got the perimeter of the base. Let's keep this the base. All right, there we go. And the perimeter of that is, if we walked all the way around that, here's what we'd have. We'd have the 5, another 13, a 5, and a 13. That's 26 plus 10, that's 36. That's the perimeter. Times by the height. How tall is this prism from this base to the top? And that's going to be 6. Plus 2 base areas. And let me just clean this up a little bit. Base area, of course, is going to be that rectangle on the bottom. And that is going to be a 13 by 5 rectangle. I'll even draw it down here. It's going to be 13 by 5. And what is the area? Well, length times width. So we got to do 13 times 5. And when you do 13 times 5, let's see here, 13 times 5, that's going to be 65. That's your base area. But we have 2 of those. And you'll see, when we actually do this full calculation, you're going to end up with, I think, 216 here. Also with this 130 here. And you add those up together, and you got 346. So it's going to be 346 inches, again, area, that measured in squares. So, inches squared. There you go. Good luck tomorrow on the test.